You don't lack motivation. What you lack is information. The right information to help you access more of what you want from life and to reach higher levels of success. And until you have that information, you're going to find yourself going on that merry-go-round of always getting the same things that you've always had. And I want to help you get out of that today. Now, I want to start with talking to you about the primary reasons that I believe most people never reach heightened levels of success, and why 95% of the world live what we call a caged or a comfortable life. Now, the first reason is your expectations are too low. Most people don't even know they're living below this expectation ceiling because they talk about things that they want. They talk about wanting a different job or more money or better health or better relationships, but actually their subconscious programming is silently whispering to them every single day, that's not possible for somebody like you. So then they don't ever have to activate the courage that they need to make those things happen. So how do you know if you have low expectations for your life? Well, quite simply, have a look at where you're at in your life right now. Do you have everything that you want? The second reason that I really believe that most people don't have more of what they want is because as human beings, we're actually wired to avoid pain. And any time we think about creating a change, and it could be something small, it could be losing some weight, it could be starting a new relationship, as well as big things like leaving a job and starting a business or getting divorced or having a baby. Any of these things, anything that is a change from your norm activates all kind of emotions in your body that we perceive as fear. But for most of us these days, fear is nothing more than an absolute desire to not feel emotional discomfort. We're so hardwired to feel comfortable that we would rather suffocate with boredom and suffocate in mediocrity and drown ourselves in sameness because that feels preferential to the emotional discomfort of uncertainty that comes with change. And the third thing is that most people don't understand that successful people think differently, period. And we're sort of taught to believe that successful people are born different. They're not. They train themselves how to think differently so they can get what they want. And again, 95% of the world have no concept of that, yet alone the information they need to start implementing that. And that's what I want to give to you today. Now, before we go into it, I want to let you know that every single person in the world wants more. Some of us want more time, some more freedom, more money, more intimacy, more passion, more ideas. You know, whatever it is, everybody in the world wants more of something. And we all have the same ability to be able to create that. We just don't have the same information. So, and I said to you, how do you know if your expectations are too low? So step number one is have a look at where you are. Have a look at the key areas in your life. How good are your relationships with your loved ones, with your family, with your clients, with your colleagues, with your team members? How good is your health? Like really, on a score of 1 to 10 or 0 to 10, and be super honest. How satisfied are you? And I'm not talking about grateful, that's a whole new video. I'm talking about how satisfied are you with these levels in your life. And like 10 is like off the chart, couldn't be any better. 0 is like I need this whole thing to change. So look at relationships, look at health, look at finances, look at your life of purpose and meaning. Look at your levels of soul, connection to something bigger than you. Look at your career, your business, those key life areas. Having a look at those and scoring them out of 10 is going to give you a really good idea about what your expectations are. Because if you're not actively working on those now to improve them, why have you stopped? Why have you chosen to stay where you are? I find that a really interesting question. And oftentimes when I'm doing a talk, I'll give the analogy of if you got onto an aeroplane and the stewardess said to you, would you like to do this 12-hour flight in economy class or would you like to go into first class? Nobody chooses economy class. So why do so many people in the world accept economy class every single day in their life? Substandard health, substandard relationships, not enough money, no meaning and purpose. Why do we do that? It intrigues me. So have a look and score yourself out of 10 on those key areas. And then I want you to think about what you really want. I want you to imagine that your 90-year-old self is sat in front of you and he or she is telling you just how amazing your life ended up being. What is in that life that made it so amazing, that is different to now, right? And really think about what they're presenting with you. Because what I find a lot of people do is they set aspirations, goals, whatever you want to call it, and they set it based on what they don't have. So they're aware that they don't have enough financial freedom, so they want more money. They're aware that they hate their job, so they want a different job. They're aware that they don't like their partner, so they want a different partner. But they've never taken the time to think about, why is this really important to me? What will more money bring for me? What will a deeper connection and more intimacy with my relationships bring to me? What will living more meaningfully and more purposely bring to me? I don't want you setting goals based on what you don't have. I want you to get clear on what you say you want, but also why you really want it. What's the impact for you? Because that's when you can start to do the third part of raising your expectations. Because here's the thing. Your expectations are built primarily on your values, but also your belief systems. And I know that if you're watching this, so many of you will know that our belief systems, until we know otherwise, are a program that's been installed into us. So our beliefs don't really belong to us, but they feel really real. And without going into the whole science about how we can start to rewire your mindset using things like NLP and EFT and that kind of stuff, you have something available to you right now that will make an instant change. And that's the ability to consciously direct your thoughts. So when you've scored yourself out of 10 and you realise there's a lot of room for improvement, and you've thought about what it is that you want and why that's important to you, this is where you do step 3. You must demand more from yourself. We are in an unprecedented time as I record this. In the UK here, we're just our first week into lockdown with the coronavirus. And there is a lot of fear and there is a lot of shifting going on. And I happen to believe for so many people, it is the perfect opportunity to up level in our life. And so you have to have this opportunity now to demand more from yourself. Demand more from your life, because we get one chance here. One chance to live meaningfully, to have an impact, to live with purpose, to live and to love and to laugh and to feel fully engaged every single day. And it's possible, even in times of crisis like we're in now. In fact, maybe even more times when we're in crisis. We have access to so much more inside of us. So it is time to raise your expectations by consciously directing your thoughts to demand more from yourself and more from your life. Now let's talk about the second point, because as we do that, we are going to immediately activate all those fears and emotions that we talked about around emotional discomfort. We are so anti-emotional discomfort that we would rather suffocate in circumstances that we are unfulfilled in, unhappy in, than make a change, because the change is uncertain. We don't know the outcome. All we know that we can do is set up the conditions to maximise our success, but we don't know for sure what's going to happen. So this miserable, self-suffocating experience that we're having right now, it doesn't feel good, but it feels safe, and that's the difference. So I've written down here that growth by nature is painful, and our pains become our purpose. So if we're constantly avoiding pain, how do we access our truest purpose in life? How do we really make an impact? How do we really have meaning? And so I've got 3 steps for you on this one. There's 3 main pains that we're avoiding. We're avoiding the loss pain. What might I lose if I do this? Like I say, it could be the pizza and the beer on a Friday night. It could be the potential relationships that you might lose. It could be financial freedom, all the losses that you might incur. Then we have the process pain. What if I don't have what it takes? What if I'm not strong enough? What if I don't know how to do this? What if I don't have the resources? Is this going to be too painful for me to take? So we have the process pain. The third thing is the outcome pain. What if I do all this work and the grass isn't greener? What if I do all this and it turns out that it's worse than what I had before? So the first thing I want you to do is to enable you to activate that courage that you need to demand more from yourself. Think about the pains that you might be playing over and over in your mind, and then ask yourself this question: would you survive it? How many of you have already survived a relationship breakup? Or you've survived going through a period when you had no money, or you've lost friendships? We've all survived way more than we give ourselves credit for. So if the worst thing did happen, would you survive from that? I'm pretty sure the answer to that is yes. The next thing I want you to think about is, I want you to think about the thoughts that you hold predominantly on the dashboard of your mind. When we get into fear state, anxiousness, when we're trying to avoid that emotional discomfort, we can tend to have on replay thoughts and beliefs that are not serving us. All the things that catastrophize what could happen, all the things that could go wrong. We have the beauty of being human is we have the option to consciously direct our thoughts right now. And so what thought would you have to bring onto that dashboard, onto that record, DVD, CD, whatever you want to call it, going round and round and round, that will help you to rewire that belief system? Because we rewire our belief systems by the repetition of beliefs that matter, beliefs that are going to move us forward. So maybe you could say to yourself, if I went out and did this, sure, I could lose relationships, or I could be the inspiration that these people are looking for. If I did do this, maybe I might lose some money in the interim, but maybe I'm going to make 10 times that in 6 months' time. Maybe through all of this, I'll become the person that I've always known I could be. You see, we get to choose the thoughts that we have. It takes practice. I'm not telling you it's going to be easy, but you have the power to create that free, consciously directed and positively engaged mind. And for me, that is the biggest gift that you can give yourself. And the third thing is that how can you use directive questions regularly throughout the day to stop you going to reaction mode? I don't know about you, but I am not good in a reaction standpoint. The worst of me comes out when I feel like I'm on the back foot and I'm reacting to something. So if we use the power of directive questions regularly throughout the day, we're driving the bus, we're in charge. So it could be as simple as having 1, 2 or 3 questions that you ask yourself regularly throughout the day so that you steer yourself back on course. Those questions could be something simple like, what is something positive that I can think about right in this minute? Who can I reach out to and send a letter or a text or a phone call, a message, just to say, hey, I see you, I think you're amazing. What can I be grateful for in this moment? None of it's rocket science, but it's positively engaged and it's directing your mind, pinpointing it to the areas that you want to go to. And let me tell you, once you start, your life will change exponentially. It'll be a little bit at a time to start with. Then you're going to feel that cumulative effect. And you are going to move so much further forward than most people that you know. So think about maybe 3 to 5 really positively engaged questions that you could ask yourself regularly throughout the day. Have an alarm go off every couple of hours just to keep your dashboard clear and fresh, if you like. And the third thing I spoke to you about is that rich people think differently, period. And the simplest way that I can explain this to you is that they have come to a point in their life where success is non-negotiable. There isn't room for another option. And they're normally very driven by their bigger why. They know why they're doing it. That's why I asked you to go and say, like, if you want to raise your expectations, it has to be important to you. It has to be something that is going to drive you to do the courageous things that most people won't do. So the simplest way I want you to think about this is, I want you to move away from the whiny, what, why, when, how, and who. Why does it always happen to me? When will this thing work out? Because I've been doing this forever and nothing's changing. Like, what's it going to take? I call them the whiny, what, why, when, how, who. One of the things that successful people can do is they ask these questions expecting to sort of open up portals of possibilities, I like to say. What would the next best step for me be? What would it look like for the perfect outcome to be just around the corner? Why is it completely possible for me to create a life of success, abundance, and fulfillment? Now, notice that I'm not expecting an immediate response, but they're directing my mind to do magical things for me out in the quantum field. And it also keeps the dashboard clear, right? But the other thing is, when they see something that they want, it's like, what's the first step towards that? You don't need to have clarity on the whole 5 year plan. You really don't need that. So many people get their knickers in a twist thinking that clarity is the whole 5-year plan. It's not. Clarity is, who do I need to be today to move me towards that goal? Who is one person I could reach out to this month that might help me get there? What's the next best step for me right now? And I'm telling you, when you do this stuff, motivation it's not a word that I resonate with, but it will give you the momentum. It will give you the courage. It will give you the clarity to keep moving forward towards that lifestyle that you want, where you have great health, great relationships, great wealth, and more importantly, you are living your life of purpose and passion and profit. So give some of those exercises a go. Let me know how you get on. And really, I need you to know that wherever you're at, you can turn your life around and you can live a life of meaning and purpose. You just got to learn how to control the mind and then be the courageous person to take the action. And universe will meet you halfway. Universe will match your energy. Universe will give you opportunities you couldn't even think about on your own. So remember, do the work and you too will live your life of purpose, passion and profit.